Hey y'all, this is Eleni Brooks, a local realtor here in Houston, Texas. I'm trying to do a blog series, so I started with Buying 101 last week, and naturally today I'm going to do Selling 101. So I'm going to go over a high level overview of what that looks like for you as a homeowner. And if you have any questions at the end, please post them in the comments and I will reply to you. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to call me and you're going to go, "Hey, Eleni, I'm thinking about selling my home. How does it work? What do I do? How do I know the value?" You're going to have all these questions for me. And that's where I do my part. So you're going to call me and I'm going to look in the system and I'm going to run what's called comparables. Comparables is the most important part, not part, but the biggest factor in buying or selling a home. What we do is we take your home and all the specs to it. We take the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the square footage, the lot size, the updating in it. What else? If it has a pool sometimes. We just try to get all of the specifications of your home, and we look in your neighborhood and we see homes that sold as similarly to your house as possible, and we see what they sold for. We get an average, and then we figure out what your house is worth within that spectrum. If it's nicer than most homes, then we're going to go above the average. If it's lower, then we're going to go below the average. There's a bunch of factors that go into it. So it's not a formula I can just tell you. It is something that we do as realtors that is it has to be a very good estimate, a very good opinion, because that can make or break the transaction. So then so you've called me. I get a rough estimate of what your house might be worth in the neighborhood. I do a real broad window. Let's say 200 to 250, and then we make an appointment. I come to your home. I tour the home. I see what you've done to it, and then I can give you a much more concise estimate. And we say, okay, from 200 to 250, I'm going to say your house is worth 235 to 240. That's how close we like to get. Because when you price your home as a seller, if you don't price it right from the beginning, it causes a snowball effect. When you price your home correctly in the beginning, when you list a house on the market, in the first 7 to 14 days, you are exposed to 90% of the buyers in your price range. If you don't price it right from the beginning, you've lost that initial exposure, and then you're exposed one by one, and then here's the snowball effect. It stays on the market for 30 days, for 60 days, for 90 days, and then a buyer sees it and goes, "Why has it been on the market so long? What's wrong with the house? Let's lowball it." That's what happens. So more days on the market does not mean more money by any means. You want to price it right from the beginning, and you can usually get a good offer in pretty quickly if it's a good seller's market. So it's super, super important to price it right from the beginning. I know your home is personal to you and you think you want it to be worth so much more, but we have to look at the data and really use the data to drive it and not emotions. That's super important. So once we've gone over all that, we've come to an agreement on what we think the house should be listed at. We plan a list date and we plan pictures. I like to take professional pictures. They look fantastic. Pictures are what bring the buyers in your home. So you want to make sure you have professional pictures. And then we're going to go over a list of maintenance items that can be done to get your home ready. So you want to clean your gutters, you want to change your AC filters, you want to replace all your light bulbs, get maintenance done on your air conditioner and heater. What else? I can't think of anything else right now. And you also want to depersonalize your home. What do I mean by that? That means take all your pictures down. Don't have, your family pictures spread out throughout the house, because what happens is I'm going to go in and take these pictures and then I'm going to put you on the internet, and you don't want your kids' faces or your family faces blasted out to the world, because obviously it's the World Wide Web for a reason. Then we're going to go over details in that appointment. We're going to go over how the showing process works when somebody wants to see your home, if we're going to do an open house, when that's going to happen. So if you have pets or kids, you have to think about all that, because when somebody schedules an appointment, They're going to go into a system, they're going to schedule the appointment, you're going to get notified, you're going to approve it. So we want to have some measures in place if you have dogs and kids or cats and kids, because you want to be given enough time to be able to get all that together and get out of the house. So one of the tips I give is, every morning you leave your house, make your house show ready. So that way you don't have to run home on your lunch break to scramble to make it look pretty. It has to, be very presentable during showings. Then we are going to, once we've gotten all that in order, I'm going to give you what's called a seller's net sheet. Sellers, unfortunately, incur the brunt of the cost of a home transaction, a home sale transaction. So a seller roughly pays around 8% of the sales price between commissions and closing costs, because the seller is who pays the commissions to both the listing agent and the buyer's agent. And then you have your own closing costs when we go to the closing table. So I give you a seller's net sheet that identifies all of those costs throughout and will show you what you will walk away with after we've paid off a mortgage or whatever. So you really get to see what you're putting in your pocket. So if you're planning on buying another home, that's where you need this information, because you want to know how much money you're going to get to take to that transaction, right? And I'll go over that at the end a little bit, because that gets a little confusing also. So then we're going to plan, we're going to pick the date. I'm going to do pictures. I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to get an extra set of keys from you. We're going to take the professional pictures. I'm going to put a sign in the yard. I'm going to put a lockbox on the door, which is what other agents will use to come in when you're not there. That's where the key is. It's held in the lockbox. So when they make the appointment, they come in, they get the key out of the lockbox, and then they go in and show your home. So nobody will ever come view your home without a realtor. They can't just, a regular consumer cannot just go make an appointment and come view their home on their own. It just won't happen. If they don't have a realtor, they'll usually call me and I will show it. So it will always be an accompanied showing by a realtor of some sort. And then once we've got your pictures done, we go live. It goes on the market. And we usually try to schedule an open house pretty quickly after that. So what's going to happen through this process is, if you're planning on buying another home in the Houston area, you're going to talk to a lender, preferably before we go live, because if you're buying another home, we have to find out if the sale of your current home has to be done before you can buy the next home. So that kind of changes our buying process also. Then we have to do what's called a contingency on the sale of your previous home, current home, I'm sorry. So we're going to want to get all of those details panned out beforehand. And then once we go live, we do the open house, people start showing your property, and then we wait for the offer. Once we get the offer, that's where the realtor is invaluable. We know all the loopholes that the buyers can go through. We help you make a decision on the offer if it's a multi-offer situation. For an example, if you get into a multiple offer situation and somebody comes in $20,000 over the value of the home, you have to worry about it appraising during the buyer's process. So that's why it's super important to work with a realtor, because we're the ones that know all of that information. That's what we get trained for. That's why we're valuable in the process. So once you are under contract, then the buyer does all of their stuff. Then we go to the closing table. So when you are ready to sell your home, or if you're wondering what your home is worth, give me a call, 281-818-2698. That whole preview process to actually getting it online can take as little as 3 days, as much as 2 weeks, however long you need it to take. So if you're even thinking about maybe selling this year, give me a call and let me give you an estimate on your home. That takes nothing. So that's it. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. If you have a topic you want me to cover next time, put them in the comments below, and I look forward to helping you. Thanks. Have a good day.